Hey everyone, so this is a video of me cleaning out some of my mother's things. My mother passed away earlier this year, and at first I wasn't going to move anything. I was going to leave it as she left it. I wasn't going to utilize the room. But then I realized that I had to go through certain things because I needed documents or somebody was looking for an item. And it made me confront her room, and it made me realized that I just couldn't keep it in there forever. And as much as I wanted to, I knew that certain items would be more beneficial to others than in my closet. So these are the first three categories that I feel should be faced when you have lost somebody and you need sort of a starting point. So for me, the first thing to do was bedding. The bedding was still good. It would not fit any of our other beds in the house, and I wanted it to go to people in need, to shelter people, to Goodwill where it could be purchased and utilized for somebody who needs bedding. The second category was blankets. Certain blankets I gave to the Humane Society. It's a cold winter coming up, and I know they would come in handy. So the second section was clothing, and clothing is hard because every piece of clothing has a memory, and it's hard to part with it, but it didn't fit me, and as much as I tried things on, it was too big for me. And I made three piles. The first pile was the trash pile, obviously damaged clothing, bleach stains, just extremely worn clothing. And the second pile was donations, taking them to a place where they would be appreciated, where they would be needed, where they could help somebody. I felt that was better than keeping it just for the sake of keeping it and not parting with it. I wanted it to help somebody. And that was the reason why I went through clothing. The third pile was a pile of the items that I loved, that made me remember my mother, that I knew I wanted to utilize to make my daughter some dresses so that I could remember her, so that a little bit of her was still there with us. And that's what I did, three piles. One was for damaged trash fabric. The second pile was donations, and the third pile were items that were sentimentally emotional to me and which I wanted to utilize to make dresses for my daughter. I did a few accessories, a couple of hats, and then the last pile was sort of beauty, self-care items. And I went through her purses, just wallets and things that I knew I couldn't utilize. And I kept a brown purse, for example, because I love it. It reminds me of her. But in general, you have to go through everything, all these toiletries. My mom had a vast collection of combs and toothpaste, brand new packages of toothpaste. And that will not be taken by Goodwill, but a homeless shelter would really appreciate it. I found broken pieces of certain items that needed to just be tossed. So this pile itself was the hardest because you have to check every item, make sure it's not expired, see if it's donatable or for homeless people, or if it's trash, expired. And if you conquer these three piles, what's left behind is all of the sort of more emotional items that you can sort through later, but this is a great beginning to start with. Thanks, I hope you like, and please subscribe.